All right, in this video, we are going to start talking about intelligence. Specifically, we're going to look at the three theories about intelligence. So first of all, we have to define what intelligence is. So intelligence is the ability to basically learn from experience, to be able to be a creative problem solver, to adapt your thinking to new situations. Obviously, I wanted to point out here that nowhere in the definition of intelligence includes the factual information that you know. So please don't get this confused and think that somebody is smart just because they know a lot of facts and a lot of information. To be have a high intelligence, you need to actually be able to take information and things that you know and be able to adapt and be able to creatively problem solve. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about, like I said, is we're talking about theories on intelligence. So the first theory that we're going to talk about is Spearman. And Spearman is this guy right here, Charles Spearman. And he believed that we have one general intelligence, and they shortened it to G, excuse me, or the G factor. Basically, he believed that we have this one general intelligence, and that one general intelligence incorporates all of your abilities out there. So he used what they called factor analysis, and they're kind of clusters of items on a test that are related, that are used to basically identify the dimensions that underlie your general intelligence. So what this means is that if you think about it on an intelligence test or any other test, okay, you will have several questions that are going to be related to the same general topics, okay? And so on an intelligence test, what Spearman said is that he could find clusters of particular questions that would all be, for example, related to math problems and logic problems, or you have other questions, that a group of questions that are related to visual and spatial problems. Now they will be spread out throughout the test, so they will all be mixed up, but there's going to be clusters of these items. And so what they have happening is that Spearman believed that the different dimensions that you can look at on a particular intelligence, an intelligence test, is that those are going to be kind of the almost the subcategories of your general intelligence score. And he really believed that you have one general intelligence and everything else is kind of just your abilities. Okay. So this was kind of a general graphic that kind of looked at that. So, mechanical, spatial, numerical, and verbal. All of these are, specific abilities that you have, but they all come together to form your general intelligence. And he saw that when you were good in one area, you'd be good in other areas as well, and that would kind of come together and form your general intelligence, your general abilities. He said that the G factor underlies all of our intelligent behavior. So if you think about this kind of graphic, is that this is general intelligence and your general ability to adapt to new experiences underlines all of your behavior, whether it be in verbal skills or numerical skills or whatever. That's going to underline everything. He also said that they also found that the G has been used to predict performance in jobs and in complex tasks. So when the general intelligence has been actually determined, and people have actually had like intelligence tests, that intelligence score, that general intelligence, actually can show how well people are going to do in jobs, how well they're going to do in tackling problems. Those are going to be things that actually are impacted by this general intelligence score. Now, Spearman was the first to start, but there are other people that disagreed with Spearman. Obviously, a guy by the name of Howard Gardner, he believed that there was multiple intelligences, and that he believes that they come in packages. So that's Howard Gardner, and Howard Gardner is still alive. He believes that Gardner actually identified 8 intelligences. He says that, the general intelligence, he said that that doesn't encompass all of what people can be smart in, right? And so he identified 8 intelligences, and these are some of them. So he's got the interpersonal, which is you're smart about yourself. The interpersonal, which is when you're people smart, you're smart about understanding people. You have the musicals, so they're music smart. The bodily kinesthetic, or the body smart. You have the spatial, so they're picture smart. The naturalist, that is nature smart. And the logical or mathematical, that is logic smart, so basically with numbers. And the linguistic or word smart. And so he's actually talked about each one of these before, and he has talked about different specific examples of people that are good examples of someone who actually has that specific intelligence. He did say use, for example, savant syndrome, also to illustrate people with high ability. He said that this is a great example of somebody who is an example of multiple intelligences because they are specifically smart in one particular area. For example, have you ever seen the movie Rain Man? Right? In the movie Rain Man, if you've never seen it, it's a good movie. It's a little older. It's from I think 1988, I want to say. But the Rain Man has Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman, and Dustin Hoffman plays this savant, this adult who is not able to function and not able to function by himself in daily life. However, he is mathematically smart. And in the movie, Tom Cruise discovers Dustin Hoffman's character's abilities, and that he can calculate anything numbers wise very, very quickly, ridiculously fast. And Gardner points to people like this and says, see, this is not, I mean, his general intelligence score would be extraordinarily low because he cannot solve problems. He cannot approach things from a different solution. He has problems with daily living and daily life. But on the other hand, he has this one bright spot of math, and he can anything with numbers he can do. Okay. And so Gardner kind of used that as an example of, multiple intelligences. All right, the last theory that I wanted to talk about is Sternberg. And Sternberg, he agreed with Gardner that there are multiple intelligences, but he thought that Gardner basically went too far with identifying 8. He's just like, well, is every, ability that you have, is that, an intelligence, a special little quirk you have? So he narrowed it down to 3, and he says there's a triarchic theory of intelligence. So, by the way, there's Sternberg. His first approach and his first intelligence is the analytical. So the analytical intelligence is someone who can solve those kind of academic problems where there's well defined, they have one answer, they are going to be things that are maybe they may be difficult to do, but they definitely have one clear answer. Obviously, analytical intelligence predicts school success because, like I said, these are going to be kind of academic questions. And they do predict some job success somewhat. So analytical intelligence and, how well you do on an analytical things. Sternberg, so yeah, there's your test taking. So it'll predict how well you do on a test. Sternberg also said that there's also a creative intelligence, and creative intelligence is being able to adopt and generate new ideas. Uh, so, for example, being able to create new things like a new meal or a new creation. I love this picture. I think it's supposed to be Einstein based on little E equals MC squared here. But obviously there was somebody that was very creative to be able to take these individual pieces of food and be able to make a picture out of it, right? So they are very creative. Um, Then the last intelligence, according to Sternberg, is the practical intelligence. And this is going to be kind of like the street smarts. These are the people that are really good at everyday tasks where they're it's kind of like the exact opposite of the analytical intelligence, because practical intelligence, you have problems every day that need to be solved that are not very well defined. They don't have a clear answer, and they have many potential solutions. And so practical intelligence is kind of that street smarts and being able to figure out and determine what to do. And if you think about it, I know you're all thinking, oh, you know what? I know people like this, right? You know people who are maybe very analytically smart, and they are really great at solving school type problems, right? Where there's one clear answer and the problem is very well defined, right? And they usually do really well in school. They probably have A's, right? A's, B's. And then some people that are very creative types, right? And they can look at, for example, if you're talking about somebody who is an artist maybe, and they can look at a piece of canvas and they can look at what they have available and they can turn it into something wonderful and beautiful. And then you probably know some other people that maybe are practically intelligent, and they can think through, any daily living problem, right? And they can come up with a solution that maybe, that person that is analytical and, kind of quote unquote book smart would not be able to solve. Okay, so that's kind of going with that. And so this is my last cartoon, and it's obviously this dog is sitting in the executive chair, and it's at the Frisbee Incorporated, and it says what he lacked for in book smarts, he made it up for in practical intelligence. So again, practical intelligence is very helpful. All right, so those are the three theories. The G factor, Gardner's multiple intelligence, and Sternberg's multiple intelligence. So let me know if you have any questions.